Right, welcome back, listeners. This time we aren't doing a video, but we will for the next big meeting on Saturday. But welcome back, Money Shot. Good to have you back again. How was your week?
They just fly by, Neil.
They did, too fast, too damn.
No, all good. We're still alive, so it's always a positive these days.
Yeah.
But looks like we're in for another rainy Saturday, much like last Saturday. Certainly the weather did have quite a serious impact on the Rotorua meeting especially, wouldn't you say?
Oh, it was amazing. When that rain came, you knew what was going to happen. They were going to get to that outside fence halfway through the program. That's what happened. And unfortunately, Tommy Leela, down the stablemate, deals in heels. And much to the chagrin of all punters who got stuck into it. But that's racing. But in the next race, High Lad just beat my horse home for the chocolate fish.
Well, actually, High Lad was before the fillies and mares race, but that's okay, Neil. I'll forgive you. I don't know if Gentle Tonton finished before Tomalila or not, but
just about lap,
I see it was only 23 lengths behind my High Lad. Would that be the biggest chocolate fish winning margin of all time?
Probably, but who really cares?
No. At least I broke my run of outs.
You did. You stopped
get one back. I tell you something for nothing.
Yeah.
The problem with these bloody podcast video ones, people now are coming up to me in the street saying, the Money Shot. Giving me grief. Well, luckily I got one back on them when they were saying your tips aren't going in much good.
Yeah.
I said, High Lad, got the money, $6 or $7, so it was nice.
It was good.
But yeah, we have to be careful now, Neil. That's what happens when you get famous.
Yeah, we'll start getting selfies, start charging for selfies like some of these bloody pros do. Anyway, question for you. What have these four things got in common? Mike Hosking, commentator Tony Lee, myself, and 20,000 Aucklanders.
You all earn over $500,000 a year.
Close. No, we all went the frickin' early crow and the Warriors.
The Warriors? How did they go on the weekend? They got beaten by more than 23 lengths. They got beaten 32 lengths.
They got their backsides kicked, didn't they? They're all
Are you still on the bandwagon, or you got 1 foot out and you're thinking about when to jump?
You summed it up nicely. Got 1 foot out, ready to jump. But my daughter was down here with her husband, and he's a big league follower, Simon, and he said before the game, you watch, these Roosters are going to cream the Warriors, at least 20 points. Says the Warriors are going to be shown up for their weak points, and they were. He was dead right. They just didn't have it on the forwards, back to their old ways of missing tackles. So interesting to see how they come back off that tonight against Parramatta.
Yeah, they need to bounce back tonight, because Parramatta certainly aren't a team as chock full of quality like the Roosters. So if they lose tonight, I think there'll be a lot of people jumping off that bandwagon.
Yeah.
And I see Tuivasa Shek's not going over. He's staying home for his impending firstborn's birth.
Fair enough. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Okay. Nothing else from last weekend? Any sporting highlights? No highlights. Can't think of any.
My highlight of the sporting week was this morning, actually.
What was that?
Michael Van Gerwen in the darts. For about 8 leagues, he was averaging about 128. It was almost flawless darts in the final of the Premier League. Unbelievable stuff.
Bit like those Hurricanes last Friday night. You were up there.
Oh, yeah, well, they didn't play that well, I thought, but they won. But we'll touch on the Hurricanes later in the show. We'll talk about their game tonight.
Yeah. You were right last week, though. You said they would look like Auckland could win at any stage there, and the price.
Yeah, actually, our man, I think at kickoff, what did our man have? 100,000 at $1.23 at kickoff. The Blues were Hurricanes were $1.27. I'm not sure if they got out any higher than that during the game. They might have when Blues had the lead early in the second half, but in the end, it was pretty painless for him or her. You'd assume it was a him, wouldn't you?
You never know.
You never know. You never do know, though, these days. Can't assume anything.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
But no, it was good. Got to say, Eden Park, it is a great facility. Just a pity that it doesn't host many good games when the Blues are playing.
That's right, yeah. It'll happen one day, before the turn of the century, hopefully. Right, back with part 2 in a sec.
Part 2 now, listeners, where we preview the two main races on the day, one from Te Rapa, one from Awapuni, starting at Te Rapa. Jump season now in full swing, Neil, and the Waikato Steeple Chase, race 6 on the program. Sea King, top weight, but I'd say will be definitely scratched, you would assume. So that gives the Big Opal a bit of an advantage with the weight scale being compressed. He won this race last year, but can he make it 2 in a row, or are you not convinced?
The Big Opal, no, he's got to be a chance, doesn't he? With the compression of the weights, with Sea King and stablemate accepting and more than likely scratching. So, but no, I think Max beat him last start, and I think Max will beat him again and beat everything else. He's just a really good jumper, good stayer, and he just got that sense of timing about him. He just lobs along, moves into it, and he won easing down at Wanganui, fresh up. Isaac Lupton, terrific rider. I think it's a really good bet. But $4, if you get Sea King scratched, we'll say about a 16-17% deduction. So, about 10, 40, about $3.10 if you back him now at $4 or something. I think Max is the way to go. How about you?
Well, yeah, I agree. It'll be about $3.32 the price on Max after Sea King comes out. He had the Big Opal cold, and you'd think he'd take more improvement given that was his first run of the season when the Big Opals already had 3. Yeah. I'll go with the first day winner, Justa Charlie. He was pretty impressive. He's always shown a bit of ability on the flat. He's won, what's he won on the flat? He's won 6 over the jumps and 2 on the flat, but I just think he's in purple patch of form. The stable's going well, and he won pretty strongly on the first day, and the expected heavier track conditions will probably only help him, you would think. So, yeah, I'll stick with him. But yeah, certainly the CD, you've got a strong mortgage on this race. You'd think the Big Opal and the names Bond might cut at each other in front, so we should set it up for just a Charlie or a Max to get over the top. But always a good sight, the jumpers going through that middle, those 5 fences through the middle of Te Rapa. Of course, we've got Te Rapa jumps get 3 extra meetings, so the McGregor Grant Steeples, the Pakuranga Hunt and the Great Northern will all be run at Te Rapa this year.
Of course, all at Te Rapa, are they? Oh, good. That'll be worthwhile going over for the big one. See how it's run. It'll be the same distance, I presume, too. Was it 6,000?
6,400 metres, I can't remember. Yes, they'll be getting dizzy going around Te Rapa a few times. Probably be about, they'll probably go through the centre 3 times on that length of journey, I'd say. Maybe only twice. Anyway, it'll be good. Good to see. Awapuni, the main race down there is the Rangatiki Cup, the James Bull Rangatiki Gold Cup, race 7 on their card. Heavy 10, 9 horses lining up at this stage, and the final field favourite happens to be the impressive last start winner, William Wallace.
Yeah, first question you always ask yourself in a race, small field like this, who's going to lead? And very hard to find out a consistent leading. In fact, you won't find one. But Ruby Amani, she gets a bit keen early and likely from that good draw to slide forward and get the lead by default, so I can see her leading. And then I can see Slimline just tucking in behind her and maybe getting outside her flank and sitting second outer. And that could be the perfect place to be because there won't be a lot of tempo. And I thought Slimline was a pretty good each way chance here, 950 and 280. You concur?
It makes Ruby Amani 1.5 kilos better off from last time. I will make a call and say Slimline doesn't want to be a racehorse anymore. Needs the broodmare's paddock. Out of form, can't have it, won't run in 3.
Possibly. Interesting call. I spoke to the trainer, Gary Vile, this morning, and he said he was really happy with her work. And Robert Hanman jumps back on, who won on her a couple of years ago in a heavy track, and he was really pleased with her track work, and he was concerned about a heavy 10. He'd like to see a bit of rain for it to loosen up, especially for the inside. But okay, interesting call. But you could be right. She hasn't won for a while, but it's just the right sort of race for her. And I think if she doesn't perform on this with a good run, she may well end up on that matron's paddock. But,
good bunch of people own her. So she got some black type. I think she ran third in that Wait for Age race here one Christmas. So she'll have a good career as a broodmare. But no, I can't have it. But then the next question you're going to ask is, well, who is going to win?
That's right.
I can't find one really. It's a tough race. Our friend Ruby Amani, she's in career best form, so you'd have to look at her. William Wallace, probably. What about She's Poppy, the stayer, fresh up, $9 into $7? There's been a bit of money there. And generally when the Connors stable put the money on, they're not far away. What about the stayer to blouse them fresh up? We always know stayers can often go a cheeky race first up, and clearly the heavy track conditions will be in her favour.
Yeah, well, she won fresh up over a similar distance on a slow track in September 2016, and also won fresh up over a mile at New Plymouth on a heavy track in May, well, this time last year actually, New Plymouth. So, and she's a type of filly. I've done the sectionals on her, and she's that last 200 metres she can really bang, and it's a sort of race if it's going to be a sprint home, and it comes down to a sprint. Obviously, she could just blouse past them. So you can see where the money's come for her. So you going for her?
I'll go for her.
Yep.
I don't mind. I'll take you on for a chocolate fish. Her against Slimline, or why don't we do two? Just a Charlie and Max, and She's Poppy and Slimline.
Yeah. Okay then. It sounds good. Okay, I'll go.
We'll either split them, or one of us will be crowing with a 2-0 victory.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. Okay, we'll do that. What else we got?
You got a bit of a preview for Randwick too. Is it Randwick?
Rosehill.
Rosehill, sorry. Rosehill.
You had to be...
Certain jockey's back in town.
Yeah, James McDonald. He's come back looking really fit, mean, and he's obviously really hungry for those winners. Yeah.
Did you enjoy that documentary?
I haven't watched it.
Did you see that?
No, I've seen a bit of it, but have you seen it?
Yeah, I watched it in full on Monday night, I think it was. Definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it.
I got it recorded there, so got to find the time to watch it in amongst previewing races. But Press Box looks his best chance in the first race. Nice looking 2-year-old filly, powerful. Chris Waller trained. Nice run on debut for second, and I think James will put her in the right place and be really hard to beat. And probably the best value bet was in the second race, Smart Edge, $7. Good run, fresh up. Needs a firm track, which it will get tomorrow, and James is on her. Good tempo up front, 7,250. Good each way money, but it's got about 7 or 8 mounts there, so see how he goes. Okay, anything else before we move on to the sports preview?
No, not really. No.
Okay.
We'll keep our powder dry for parts 3 and 4.
Yeah, good. Okay, rightio. Back in a sec. Okay, back with part 3 with the sports preview and the Bulldogs. I didn't see the game last week, but how did they got beaten? Did you see it was a close game?
No, they won. They beat Parramatta. That was our tip, remember? We got our multi up. They won, and oh no, we didn't get our multi up. The Warriors lost. That's right. No, they looked in a bit of danger, but they came through at the end, the Bulldogs. It was good.
Oh, someone told me they lost. Freaking hell.
No, they won. They beat Parramatta.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah. Even I'll give a shout out to our friend Pedro, former New Zealand Soccer International. He follows the show closely, and he was even on the Bulldogs. So, well done, Pedro.
Good stuff. I didn't know he was a soccer international.
He played for the All Whites. There you go. He keeps that quiet. Just before, probably in the 70s. Oh. There you go. I won't give away his official identity, but
I must look that up. That's good to know. And rightio, this week's sports special, what's it going to be?
Wellington. The Hurricanes take on the Reds, who were smacked by the Sunwolves last week.
Yep.
They've had to fly all the way back to Wellington from Japan. And the Hurricanes won by 20-odd points against the Blues. Now, I think everyone would agree the Blues are a better team than the Reds. Hurricanes come back home, but more importantly, the Hurricanes get TJ Perenara back at halfback. And no disrespect to Finlay Christie, but his passing game last week left a lot to be desired, and with TJ back, he will be able to ignite that back line. You could see at the moment he came on, crisper passing, and the back line started to flow a lot better with him, and we're in the 9 shirt, so better team, worse opposition at home. Hurricanes to put a score on the Reds and cover. I know it's a big start, 29.5, but the Hurricanes, they could be up by 29 at half time.
Gee, okay.
They'll cover that start, no problems tonight.
How's the forecast looking?
No, all good.
Right.
Just no rain, so it'll be dry conditions. So the other thing to remember, Beauden Barrett's goal kicking. Obviously, you want teams to turn their 5s into 7s when you've got a big point start to cover, and this goal kicking's he's never kicked better really, so that should also help the scoreboard tick over to the Hurricanes' advantage. So happy to take a 29.5 point start. I think it's still paying $1.87. Let me just double check that option. You got it up there?
Yeah, $1.87 minus 29.5 starts at 7:30. It's a big start, but someone was telling me last week, quite interestingly, that the Aussie rules players can't believe how accurate and how far Beauden Barrett can kick a punter ball.
Especially when he's kicking to that 5 metre line out off a penalty. But you see him in the warm-ups, and he practices those kicks just with not moving, just with stationary foot, and just those, I guess in Aussie rules terms, the drop punt.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to watch the warm-ups at games. Been to a few Hurricanes games this season, and it is good to see the skill factor of him and his brother Geordie. Unbelievable. How happy would you be with 3 boys being All Blacks all at the same time? Not a bad family, the Barrett family.
Yeah, too right, amazing. Yeah, and be interesting if they were horses. They'd be well sought after, wouldn't they, for their stud fees?
Exactly.
Yeah.
She should win. Mrs. Barrett should win Broodmare of the Year. You reckon?
Oh, you'd think so, wouldn't? Good on her. Yeah.
Now, are you going to continue your trend of picking the Warriors to win, or you got something a little bit more sneaky up your sleeve?
A bit sneaky this one. The Warriors game tonight at 8 p.m. against Parramatta. Going to be a tight game, I think. So the best option, I think, is the total combined points being 39.5 or below, $1.87. Warriors are a pretty good defensive team normally, and Parramatta are too, so I can't see it being a high-scoring game. So I'll take that little multi with the Hurricanes for an interest tonight. Into Al Mack, who I think is a certainty in the Oaks tonight at Addington, paying $1.55, I think. The way she's going, I can't see who getting beaten. But,
all right, there's your Friday night multi sorted, Pedro.
That's what we'll be doing. Okay, rightio, back with part 4 in a sec.
Part 4 now, listeners. Really looking forward to this section today, where we hand out a brickbat, a bouquet, talk about things that the industry can do to improve, and give away a subscription to the website. Neil, do you have a brickbat or a bouquet?
Well, a bit of both, actually. Gai Waterhouse was mentioned in the press this week about asking for shorter times between races to make it a shorter day for the punting public. But I'm not too sure about that. I go to the races to enjoy the day, meet new people, catch up with friends. And if you've got 20 minutes between races, by the time you watch the race, collect your money, hopefully, and chat to other people, then you want to see the horses before the race. There's not much time, so I think half an hour is probably the optimum time that I would like to see. Maybe more things could be on, like at the January 2nd meeting at Tauranga. That was a terrific day. Lots of things on for kids and families, and it was just a really enjoyable day. As long as there's things going on between races and you've got a decent day. And you're involved with the Tauranga Racing Club. What's your feeling?
I guess there's two factors. Nowadays, I guess people want entertainment, and their attention span and their free time is limited.
Yeah.
You think back though, even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, just about every Saturday was a 10-race card. Generally speaking, now we're down to 8, 9 races, so that automatically shortens the day. It's a matter of keeping people entertained. You look at rugby, there's always half-time entertainment. You've got to have things between the races if you want to keep your public engaged and entertained, whether it be sack races, egg and spoon races, equestrian horses being displayed, or different things to just keep people interest. But I wouldn't go beyond half an hour. The problem is, Neil, is that in New Zealand all the clubs are dictated to by Australia. Now, here's an interesting case in point. We're 15 days away, 2 weeks and 1 day away from, you'd say, the second biggest harness meeting of the season, the Duels at Cambridge.
Yeah.
What time is their first race that day? Do you know?
No, I wouldn't know. Around about lunchtime, you'd think.
No, and guess what? They don't know either. We're 15 days out, and the Australians haven't yet confirmed their timetable. So therefore, because the Duels are going to be shown on Sky One over there, they don't even know what time their races will start and finish. Okay, we all know it's going to be somewhere around 11:30 till 4:30 or whatever, but just shows you how much we're dictated to by the Australians.
Yeah.
It must be frustrating for them. But could you imagine an All Black test? Come along to the All Black test. Oh, it might start at 7:30, or it could be court date, might be 8 o'clock. We don't really know.
Yeah.
Must be frustrating for clubs when they're put in that situation.
Yeah, they are dictated to, aren't they? But it needs to be sorted out. It's not good.
I'll give a bouquet to the Informant. Now, they'll put their prices up, but I think their newspaper's worth every cent of the $8.50 that you have to pay now.
Yep. And
the first thing I do when I get the Informant, Neil,
what's that?
I turn straight to Brian Delaw's article, normally about in the middle of the paper.
Yeah.
And his articles are always very thought-provoking, and I would say 9 times out of 10 bang on the money. And it's great to see the Informant acting as the independent voice of the industry, which the industry definitely needs, given that the racing board do, dare we say, control a lot of the racing media. And his article this week and his criticism of or analysis of the costs of the racing board and how they have gone up, despite what John Allen says relative to the payout to the codes over the last 10 or 15 years. Very good article, and good on you, Brian, for keeping the people in Petone honest. I know they're not your favourite people, and they certainly, I think, dislike you with a passion, but that's probably a good reason why, because you're uncovering what needs to be uncovered.
Yeah, no, he does write a good article, and the thing is with this new betting platform, they've invested so much into it, they've got to do it right, so it does always inevitably run into extra costs with this type of technology. So hopefully, for racing's sake, they get it right, and it does increase turnover and brings in new people. And I think there's one thing they may have missed, though, I don't know if they will include it or not, is exchange betting, because that is the way of the future of betting. It's no risk to the TAB, just the setup cost of the exchange. So being, what's it called? Paddy Power Betfair, who they're using, I hope that Betfair part of it, with the exchange part of it, eventually gets into the platform. But time will tell. For racing's sake, I hope they get it right and all this expense is clawed back over time. But
I'll tell you what, two listeners, if you've got a spare 2 or 3 hours, Google Racing Amendment Bill, and it'll come up, and you'll be able to go in and view all the submissions that were made to the select committee from the likes of Sportsbet, from Betfair, CrownBet, the TAB, various clubs, various trainers associations, etc. And if you read the proposed legislation, to me, I read that, and I could be wrong, but John Allen's saying it's going to generate $1 million a month.
Gee.
That might be in total, but that's certainly, I would say less than half of that would go to racing, because a lot of people were betting sports with Australian bookmakers and New Zealand sports. So I hate to say it, Neil, but I actually think it might not be a bad thing if this bill doesn't go through, and perhaps John Massara will come in with a more better bill, better changes to the current Racing Act, and make some real difference. Or, I just think it's a bit like the announcement that Winston made yesterday, just a bit half-cocked, and certainly I don't think too many people would be overly impressed, but I'd still give Winston a little bit of time. That's just a small thing. The real damage, shall we say, is yet to come, and hopefully the damage will come, and it will be positive, and the changes that will happen will be good for the industry. Everyone says we need to make changes, but as long as those changes don't impact our local club or our local this or our business, but sometimes to make real change, you have to disrupt, and I think this might be the time when finally we see some of those much needed changes happening for the betterment of the overall industry, even though it will cause pain to some sectors.
It definitely will, and I think Massara's report's going to be done by the end of July, which will give Winston the ammunition he needs to change the structure of racing in a really realistic way. He's talked about clubs being turned into income-producing assets, if at all possible, which I agree with. So but there's lots of things that'll come into it. And just to wait and see, and I think Winston's going to make a real change, so time will tell. And I agree with 100%. It needs to be done. And some people will gain, some people will lose majorly or gain majorly. Anyway, rightio. On to the Quaddy Syndicate. We started with 7, we're down to 5,000, and the Jules meeting on the June the 2nd has a couple of bonus quaddies on the day that I forgot about, that the Money Shop reminded me about, plus they have a terminating pick 6. So I'm considering waiting, if I don't find a suitable quaddie between now and then, until that day. So just keep that in mind, those people in the Quaddy Syndicate. So haven't made a firm decision yet.
If every Purdon favourite draws number 2, though, you probably won't be taking a pick 6.
Well, you look at last year's one. I looked at last year's. It paid 50,000. I paid. I was struck by a full unit, and 3 hot favourites came in 2 $40 shots.
Yeah, so Ashley Lopez and Jack Sledgen from memory.
Yeah. So it can be done. So I'll just have a good look anyway. Take it from there.
No, you're the man. We trust with our Quaddy Syndicate money. So whatever you say goes, Neil.
Yeah, it just comes down to decisions and making the right ones. You're going to make the wrong ones occasionally, so just try and make the right ones at the right time. So anyway, now last week's question was the answer.
The lowest weight carried by a winner of the Rotorua Stakes.
Yep.
46 kgs by Dowager Queen. And Lisa Allpress, would you believe, got down to that weight to ride the 2-year-old filly to victory in, I think it was 2012, 11 or 12, one of those years.
Gee.
Not bad, eh?
No, not bad at all. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 correct answers. Give me a number between 1 and 1, 2, 3 or 4. And I'll see.
I'm going to be consistent.
Yep.
Say 1 again.
You're joking. Pedro.
Why?
Pedro.
Is it? I thought he wasn't allowed.
He didn't win last time. No, that was someone else. Colin V.
Oh,
yeah, no.
That isn't a rort either, ladies and gentlemen.
No, that's good. So he'll be happy. He likes.
I'm seeing him tonight, so I'll let him know.
Yeah, it'd be good news. He'll be happy. Okay, well done, Pedro. He used to be involved with El Blitzen a few years ago too.
Yes,
so loves
El Blitzen, very good horse. Won a Muriel metric mile with your man riding D.M. Walsh.
Walsh, yeah, I remember that race. Yep, they had trouble getting him out of the barriers, and Walshy sorted it out. So well done, Walshy. Okay, this week's question, a bit harder. Well, equally as hard.
A bit different, actually. We don't want the name of a horse. We don't want the name of a jockey. We don't want a weight. This upcoming meeting on Saturday, Te Rapa, if you think back, what landmark event happened around this meeting some 17 years ago that changed the landscape of trackside TV? There you go. Put your thinking caps on there. See if you can come up with the answer. Don't give any more clues away, Neil.
No.
We're going to start making these questions tougher because we're giving away a month's free subscription to the full Form Pro site.
Yep.
So email or text. What are the details there, Neil?
Yeah, you have to be smart to get this question. No dummy. You have to be a really good, smart racing person to get this one right. The answer, if you know it, text it to 027 352 6402 or formpro@formpro.co.nz. Make that by Monday night, and the winner shall get a month free sub to the Form Pro site. Right, Form Pro ratings, the speed maps are going well on TV, and getting a few winners out of it.
They certainly are. I happened to see a dog race yesterday where you had the 4 and the 5 as the two clear leaders, and I think they ran the Quinella. And the 4 won, paying about $13.
Crikey. Yeah.
Fired Up Jed, I think the dog's name was.
No, I was on with Clado on Trackside Radio last night, and he got a dog for us, and I said, actually I have. Raging Demon. It mapped to be second out, but drew 1. I knew it'd be quick out. The 2 dog was going to veer out, paying $6.50. I said, jump on, and it just jumped, led all the way, and drifted out to $7. So no one listened to me. So won well. So about interesting to watch the dogs. I do enjoy them. Just haven't got time to watch them all. Okay. Anyway, so everyone have a really good weekend. Back plenty of winners. Watch the Hurricanes thrash the Reds, and the Warriors win in a low-scoring game, and we'll all be happy. Right. Have a good weekend.